And that's how the theme song goes. Hey, welcome back to C plus. Nope. what is this show called? This is the Constitutionals podcast. 30 seconds in, and I've already crapped everything up. Oh my gosh. Welcome back to Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. This, if you didn't know, is the premier podcast for the website cpluscomedy.com, where there's a bunch of stuff for comedy. It's a place, go to it. I suggest if you're listening to this podcast on your computer, go to the website right now. Right now. Dare you, double dare you. Read whatever's up there, but try to pay attention to what I'm saying right now. Even though a lot of it is not very eloquent. Let's get into it. Let's just hop right into it. Everybody, the Emmys happened last night. If you're listening to this, the recording of this, the day it comes out, then the Emmys happened about 2 days ago, and things happened, and I knew who wins, you knew who wins, and nothing was a surprise, except a lot of it was really surprised. We knew Veep was going to be one of the best comedies. We knew Handmaid's Tale was going to take home a lot of stuff, as we also knew that Big Little Lies was going to do a lot. And but very surprising, Donald Glover won some things, which I'm very mad at. Happy for him, but I'm very mad that Anthony Anderson and Blackish and Tracee Ellis Ross were shut out again. So if Blackish goes on for another season, not next season, but the season after that, Tracee Ellis Ross should definitely, because Julia Louis-Dreyfus is going to win for Veep in the last year, of course. She's won for every year she's been in the freaking show. So yeah, anyway, but I think Anthony Anderson should have won. I'm very mad, disappointed. Miami bracket was ruined. Now I know how people who do the March Madness brackets feel. They're comparable. It's the same thing. It's all comparable. It's fine. Sterling K. Brown did a great job. Fantastic man. I look up to him. He's a very cool guy. Glad he won. He, of course, is going to win for Best Actor. I had him up there in my bracket. Ooh, I got so many points for him. 1 point. I got one whole point for him. Another thing that was very surprising to me was this Black Mirror crap. How gosh darn the heck did this happen? Very angry that this happened at all in the first place. I don't understand how this Black Mirror thing would beat out the likes of pretty much everything else that was better than it. Anyway, that doesn't make sense. Then Dowd came back, killed everybody, won it all. I'm very surprised. As did Alexander Skarsgård. I'm surprised people who were so sensitive to the topic of the character that he played, a wife beater, that all the Emmy voters would vote for him. I don't know. I think there are better actors in that category, but he did a fantastic job, which means that everybody else had to be exemplary. And then last week tonight, of course, was getting its licks in because people sucked that show up. And Full Frontal went home empty-handed. Even though Full Frontal is the best late night show out there. You know, it's probably because they go on vacation for 19 weeks out of the year straight. They don't come back. Yeah, I don't even think I watched the episode all summer. No, they were there all summer. It's fine. But that's the Emmys. I don't want to talk about the Emmys because they already happened, and I knew who was going to win in the first place because I'm very good at that stuff. Okay, let's move on to let's get on. Vice Principals is back on HBO, and it's just a show that returns, and it's one of the better comedy shows out there. It's created by Jody Hill and Danny McBride, starring Danny McBride and Walton Goggins as two guys who are both co-vice principals, wanted to be a real principal, and that's the end of that. But it's very dirty, very dark, and it's as anxiety-inducing as what was that other show they did? The Kenny Powers one, Eastbound and Down. Oh my gosh. I love how, my favorite thing about Danny McBride and his characters is that every time something happens to the character, no matter how Neanderthal like the character acts, no matter how brazen he is, no matter how rude he is, he always lands on his feet, and people always still love him. And I think that's so very funny. I love it for no reason at all. The characters come back. They say, you know what, Kenny Powers, we like you. We still like you, you lummox. No one uses that term anymore, lummox. We'll talk about that later. So I hate my life. So Yeah, Vice Principals is back. I think it's a wonderful show. You should definitely check it out. They shot it all, and you probably know this. If you're listening to this and you care about any of that, you probably know that they shot it all at once about a year and a half ago. And breaking news: Toys R Us might declare bankruptcy this week. Wow. I'm paying attention. I'm talking and I'm reading the news at the same time. But anyway, Vice Principals it's such a funny show, such a great show, and they originally wrote it as a movie, and then they said, hey, let's make it a TV show. McBride and Jody Hill, and prior to that, I read an interview where with the New York Times, Danny McBride said that he and his family, and actually he and Jody Hill's entire production company just moved to South Carolina, like just recently did so. And because it's just easier to be out there. LA's hard raising kids in LA. It's hard raising kids in New York. You always hear that if you listen to podcasts and read interviews like I do. And they moved to South Carolina. He's closer to me, and I just wish, Danny, if you're listening to this, you give me a job. And I think it would be great if you and I work together. So what I'm really saying is hire me, please. That's very cool that they did that. And it really shows because Vice Principals looks like it was shot somewhere in the South. And Danny McBride still has his Southern twang about him, still has that drawl in his mouth. In his mouth is what I said. Also, I just finished BoJack Horseman, the newest season. Wonderful season. And they did so many things right. So many things that were better than the last one. And you know what? I didn't hear a lot of media hype behind this one. I think there's a lot of nuance. A lot of when a Netflix show comes out, and it only happens with Netflix. There are so many great shows across so many different networks and so many different streaming platforms. And by so many different streaming platforms, I mean just the three main ones and none of the other ones. But when a Netflix show releases, there's this energy behind it because it's a show on Netflix. And even if it has one famous person, you hear everyone in the world talking about it. And it's insane. Another Will Arnett show, Flaked. I don't know why I was going to say that. Ozark. Shows that aren't starring Arrested Development co-stars. F is for Family. When that show came out, everybody's talking about it. Bill Burr in a cartoon show is going to be great. And then it just turned out to be, to me, of course, this is my opinion, it turned out to be pretty subpar because it was just a cartoon where he was saying the F word a lot and it really wasn't telling anything, heartfelt story or anything. So there we go. There we have it. But BoJack Horseman, fantastic show. It's about a man horse. He's a horse. They're all there's animals. There's 50% animals, 50% humans. Humans sleep with animals, and they all talk, and everybody talks, and they're all people. They all walk up on their feet and all that stuff. 2 paws, 2 hands, 2 legs, whatever is what I've been saying. And BoJack is a horse. He's famous, and he's I don't know, curtailing his fame. Anyway, it's a funny show. It's sometimes depressing, sometimes not depressing, but but this season really changed everything. They changed up the style a lot. They had a lot of, I don't want to say flashbacks, but like side backs. You remember that season of Lost where they started going sideways in time, side timelines? And that's essentially what they were doing. But anyway, but for BoJack Horseman, they started changing up the animation style when they were telling a different story, or they're utilizing going back in time and having, I don't want to ruin anything, but the second to last episode, it takes place all from BoJack's mom's perspective, and it's about her growing up and how she has basically a form of memory face blindness and crazy insane story. But they did one thing, I think about 2 episodes before the finale, or maybe it was in that 11th episode I was just talking about. It did one thing that I thought was pretty smart, in that they revealed, so the running theme of the entire season for BoJack is he has a daughter, and now he has to not find who the mother is, but find who find out what kind of parent he's going to be. And so so he's dealing with this throughout the season, and the first 3 episodes, it's kind of like, I don't want to get off too much tangent, but the first 3 episodes are kind of like, they're all from different perspectives. So the first episode is Mr. Peanut Butter's running for governor, and Diane's dealing with that because she doesn't want him to run for governor. Second episode deals with Todd, I think, and then the third episode deals with Princess Carolyn, and then BoJack comes back in that third episode, or something like that. I don't remember, and I don't care to look it up because I am lazy, even though I'm sitting in front of the laptop. So, but I think it's a wonderful show, and so anyway, so he's dealing with the theme of him trying to find if he can be adult enough to take care of a 17-year-old child who's voiced by Aparna Nancherla. And I think I'm pronouncing her last name wrong, but she's a very funny comedian, and I could tell it was her by the first line she said, because she has an accent, and and she's a very distinctive, and that's what you want, very comedian. And I mean that the dearest of senses ways is what I was trying to say. Oh my God, I think I'm dying over here. Like the Showtime show, I am dying up here, dying up here on the mic. Show got picked up for his 2nd season. It wasn't very funny. It's a show about comedians. It wasn't very funny, but whatever. To each their own. I'm just saying, if RJ Seiler's in it, I'm going to watch it. And if Eric Griffin's in it, I'm also going to watch it. And I think that's everybody I know in that show. Oh, Clark Duke's in it. If Clark Duke's in it, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch that show good. Bono, where are my t-shirts? So BoJack Horseman, I finished it. And so the one thing that they did that made me really appreciate it was they revealed who the mother was, pretty much essentially in the last, the episodes are half an hour long. So in the last 2 episodes, they basically, in the first 5 minutes of the second to last episode, they said, here's the mom. Or no, it was somewhere in there. It's probably in the last 5 minutes. But they said, here's the mom. And then you say, oh, okay, great. Well, now I just dropped a pack of batteries. I'm sorry. Then you to yourself, you're saying, oh, okay, well, now we just have to wait for the hero to find out. And BoJack's the hero, of course, in that story. Then we have to wait for him to find out who it is. And then he comes upon the revelation. And then, boom, there you go. But it's a wonderful show. Watch it. Give it a go. It's the only show on Netflix that I ever fell. Well, no. I'm not gonna lie. It's the only show. I was gonna say it was the only show that I ever fell for the hype, but I definitely did fall for the first 2 seasons hype of Orange is the New Black. Have since stopped watching it because it is a very crappy show and it's not a comedy. And they won Golden Globe for comedy, and that is garbage. Other shows out there who should have won, like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend this year, they better win. Or the next Golden Globes, they better win. I love Rachel Bloom. She's so great. All right, moving on to the happy endings. We'll talk about happy endings. I know I probably talked about it before. But yesterday I watched. So what I do is, there's a bunch of shows that I have constantly on repeat. The Simpsons, as always. I watch that at least 12 times a week. And those are, when I say times, I mean hours. And that's for The Simpsons. And then Happy Endings, I watch at least once a week. At least, it's not just one episode. It's usually 1 or 2 episodes. It's 2 episodes at a time. It used to be Friends. I used to watch Friends a lot. And then it's the show that comes on TBS every single day. So I stopped watching it too much. 30 Rock and Parks and Rec used to be up there as well. I had to slow down on those. But it's just The Simpsons and Happy Endings. I keep rewatching, and I just love them so much. And it's not hard to go back to the first season of Happy Endings and just watch a show that you love. So there you go. I don't know. It feels good. Let's slow it down real quick. This is not good. Let's slow it down. This is the 23rd episode. This is the 23rd episode of the Constitutionals. And I was thinking about this earlier when I was at work, and I said to myself, and I was in the bathroom, of course, when I said this out loud, while I was touching my dangle. I said, man, I've done 20 some odd episodes of Constitutionals. And then this year I've also done it's the 4th birthday of the podcast, and of the TV, of the, what do we have? What is this? A website? The 4th episode of the website. Oh, Jesus Christ. It's the 4th year of the website. And then it is I think it's 3rd year. I don't know. And then I did 150 episodes. Right now I'm like on 157, but I did 150 episodes of News Time. And I think, why? Why do I continue to do this? Why? It doesn't make sense for someone to continue. I've been doing not News Time. What is this? The Constitutionals. I've been doing the Constitutionals for nearly half a year. In 3 weeks, it'll be half a year. And I do not remember anything I said beyond the last 3 episodes. I don't remember anything before the horrible episode, which was episode 19, I think. Then apparently I started this in April. This is insane. I started doing this weekly in April. God. And I've got 20 subscribers. Yeah, I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it for the experience. You should enjoy this while it lasts, because you're going to look back in 40 years when I finally hit it big time. I just get really sad. You're going to head back. Wait. You're going to say, oh man, I listened to him when he was 24 years old. Now he's 84. And he's finally hit it big. Oh my gosh. Oh man. God, I love doing this though. It's so weird. It's fun to just sit down in front of this nice microphone and just say whatever I feel like saying. It does feel good. I think I enjoy it. And I enjoy this. I enjoy everything I do. Now typically at the end of the episode, I'm gonna start doing one thing. I'll start doing 2 things actually. I'm gonna try to get more interviews so I can put them at the end of these stupid podcasts. And also, I got a nice little ending song. That's the rest of it's actually the end of the theme song. It's a little behind the scenes trick that I do for News Time. When I started using the theme song, I a couple of months ago, I think, maybe a year, I started using an outro. And so the theme song is the beginning, the openings 30 seconds to News Time is the beginning of a song. And then the last 20 seconds of News Time is the ending of the song. And so I'm doing the same thing for Constitutionals. And I think it's good. I think it's a good way to put a little cap on everything. And I think it's awesome. I think I'm gonna keep doing it. It's just the best thing about the 7 of you that are listening. I see the numbers: 20 subscribers, 7 listeners. The best thing about having such low viewership on everything is that A, you can do whatever you want. B, you can just test things, which kind of goes in with you can do whatever you want. And C, no one's listening. So I can pretty much say whatever. I can curse on here, but I choose not to, because this is a platform that I hope is one day monetized. Will it be? Who knows? Same thing for News Time. I've kind of cut the cursing on that one as well, and the stories aren't really focused on the comedy world per se, but I'm moving on. I would say I don't remember an episode of News Time that was just about comedy. I've already moved on to bigger stories. Just like this week. This week's episode is about Amazon is canceled. Amazon recently renewed, I would say in July, they renewed a show called Z, The Beginning of Everything, which is about Zelda Fitzgerald, who's F. Scott Fitzgerald's wife. And it was just a show. I had never really seen it. I saw the trailer. I thought it looked fancy. I thought it looked something like Netflix would do. I thought it was something that Hulu would do. I thought it was something that HBO would do, Showtime, Cinemax, all those prestige networks. And Amazon thought the same thing until they gave it a second season, and then July. And then last week, if you're listening to this when this comes out, last week they said, no, we're done. Don't give Z another season. We take it back. Can we renege? So apparently, I would please watch News Time, because I spent a lot of time on that, and I think it's a really good episode. But basically the gist of it is that Jeff Bezos says we're not going to do that anymore. That show was too niche. Same thing with the other F. Scott Fitzgerald show. Again, don't know why they have that. They have two F. Scott Fitzgerald shows. Not anymore. But they canceled Last Tycoon. That had Kelsey Grammer in it and some other people that I didn't really know. But that also looked very prestige. Hour-long dramas that are just too niche. That's the issue. That was the biggest issue. So they said, no, we're not doing this anymore. So there's a write-up on Variety with two writers. And basically, in the write-up, in the feature, it said that Roy Price, Amazon Studios head chief man, was tasked by Jeff Bezos, the billionaire Jeff Bezos, one of the richest men in the world. Billionaire Jeff Bezos said, "Find me Game of Thrones." And I don't think he doesn't understand TV. I know he's older than me, and he probably has a better business sense than I do. But boy, does he not understand TV. He just said, "Find me Game of Thrones." And so now they're looking for Game of Thrones. And so basically the shows that recently premiered, the Grand Tour, which came on last year, and then Man in the High Castle, which has been lauded for the past 2.5 years, and then the new Tick series, those have been doing well because they have quote unquote global appeal. So that's what Amazon's trying to do. They're just trying to find global appeal. And so it's what I'm getting at is it's stories like that I really find interesting. And that's why I do News Time once a week, because it keeps me on my toes. It keeps me able to continually write something that's able to just essentially stand out and be, a news story that, I don't know, that some cable network would do, or some I don't know, that your John Olivers or your Samantha Bees or your Seth Meyers might do. Because Seth Meyers has his Closer Look segment, and I think those are brilliant. I don't watch them because, quite frankly, they talk too much about politics, and I get enough of that at the news station. So, but I think he does exemplary work on that. It's amazing. It's great. Same thing with Samantha Bee. The way that her and her correspondents are able to cut those pieces, or the Daily Show, or whatever Jordan Klepper's probably going to do the same thing that Colbert and Jon Stewart's Daily Show did. It's all wonderful. So, bigger stories for a smaller audience. But I'm essentially doing the opposite. I'm not doing what Amazon's doing. I'm not doing global appeal stories. I'm doing stories that, like, Samantha Bee, that are just on a smaller scale, but mine are obviously on a smaller scale, but the ones that I find are usually driven by something I've read or something that I've seen, and I think, oh, this is going to be great. Like next week's episode of News Time, which every episode of News Time is always wrote on the same day and shot on the same day, but edited 3 days later. That's how it mostly happens. It's not that I'm lazy, but it's also because when you're working several part-time jobs and you got to write something down and you're not driven to do that at that moment. Sometimes I want to write News Time on Wednesday, but I can't. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I write on Thursday, and sometimes I shoot it on Friday night because I'm not doing anything else. So that's what happens. So this week I'm probably going to write. I've already planned out. I have a list. I have tons of episodes, not tons. I have over a dozen, maybe 20 episodes that I want to do, with stories I want to do, but I'm waiting on them. And there's this one that's coming out next week. I've been planning for it since, I would say, July or June or July. I think it was June. No, it was before. It had to be May. It was before the birthday. Before I started planning for the birthday, which they basically came out at the same time. But it's Hulu and Amazon both one got ABC's TGIF shows, and then the other one got a bunch of CBS's shows. And I'm just going to do something about that. I haven't decided yet. And that's another thing. I can get a whole bunch of links together that basically are, I don't want to put a pun on this, but linked together. And that's an IGN show. And so stupid. I hate every moment of my life. And I can just get a bunch of links together, and then I can think, okay, that's going to have to do with something. So maybe I can somehow work through this. And then eventually I get the idea. Sometimes it doesn't happen all the time, but I get the idea and I go, oh, this is how it works. This is how it works. I'm going to put these together, and this is going to be a story about how to get how a first look deal works. So there you go. I think that's wonderful. Of course I think that's wonderful. And that's just how my brain works. So, but anyway, I've rambled on for possibly too long. And you know what? We made it through another episode of the Constitutionals, and that's all I thank God for. I thank God for a lot of other things, but that's one of the things I thank for. Thank you for getting us through a sloppy episode of this podcast with at least 15 subscribers and 9 listens. Number changes all the time. It's less than 20, guys. So if you like this show, for some reason, if you like this stupid show, please head to the website cpluscomedy.com. You can go to http://www.cpluscomedy.com. Spell out plus, please. That's a stupid joke. For all the latest news, reviews, features, interviews, all that other good comedy stuff that only I can provide you with, you can follow us on Twitter at @CPlusComedy. Follow me on Twitter at Chad Black White. Like us on Facebook. Please go hit that like button. Go to Facebook. Go to facebook.com/C+comedy. Again, you have to spell out the plus, but just pretend that it's a plus sign. But you actually have to spell it out because you can't use a plus in the URL. Just go there. Go to facebook.com/C+comedy. Search C+comedy on your Facebooks. Search it on Twitters. You hit that tweet button, that follow button, you hit that like button, and you are going to be surprised with so many gosh darn gifts. One time a day, I will upload a story. Sometimes I upload interviews and videos. You just click the like button, and you just click on the links, and that's all I got. That's all you got to do. You can also head to youtube.com/C+comedy. You can follow us there. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can watch news episodes. News Time is what it's called. You can watch News Time. You can watch the documentary series on comedy. You can watch other series that I have up there. I'm sure there's other things I have up there that I don't touch anymore because it's so hard. It's not hard. It's just that, again, I'm working a lot for no money. And it sucks. But I'm going to keep doing it because one day something's going to happen. And that's how life goes. And that is a quote from Little Uzi Vert. He says, that's how life goes. What's that song called? The Way Life Goes? That's a good song off of his last album. It's great. And listen to the song Unfazed with The Weeknd. It's Lil Uzi Vert featuring The Weeknd. Unfazed. Great song. That's how I pimp everything else. Okay. Ow, jeez. I just hit the desk with my thumb. All right. Anyway, that's the end. Thank you for listening. I very much appreciate it. Seriously, this is great. I love doing this. And I'll see you next week. Okay. Bye.